Are you hungry, baby? Are you hungry? Yeah, baby. Hello, everybody. And of course, we are in Hungary, known for its chicken paprikash, the chain bridge, which links the Buda district and Pest. I wonder how they came up with the city's name. Famous for Lake Balaton, the largest lake in Central Europe, and now famous for season 27 of Lights Out League Racing. Attending the Hungaroring, race 2 of the season. We're located about 20 kilometres north of Budapest itself. And we're the first of the special races this season, where it is a mandatory tyre race, which means that every driver has to use one of each of the dry compound, soft, medium and hard tyres. Short quali session, followed by 50% race. It is a dry race as well, to ensure that drivers do all use the tyres. And it's great to be back. It was a fantastic race last week where we saw Ramadi continue his fine form from last season. The rest of the drivers, wrong terms, whimper out, but it kind of fizzled out at the end and he claimed his win, and truly deserved. And it's important today that drivers nail their quali sessions. Track position is key, and what we'll do is we'll jump on with Katamise for the first hot lap of the session as he does the run down to turn 1, a tight right 180 degrees hairpin where it requires late braking, and a clean exit, which he does do. Downhill down to turn 2, which is a challenging corner, 180 degrees left-hander off camber corner where it's easy to make a mistake. Flat out on the right-hander of turn 3 where you want to cut the curve as much as possible, right uphill towards a blind left-hander where it's difficult to see the apex, and you can validate easy on the exit. Transition straight to the right-hander over the 180 degrees corner, avoid that inside curve, you'll go flying. The fiddly chicane next to turn 6 and 7, utilise those curves as much as possible, and then this next section of the corners are fantastic. Turns 8 to 11, medium high speed bends and easy to make mistakes as well, and you want to kind of go as flat out as possible around turn 11. Downhill again, down to turn 12, 90 degrees right-hander where it feels a lot slower than it actually is. If you take too much speed, you end up going wide. Turn 13, a long left-hander, 180 degrees again, and then you want to set yourself up for the final corner, get another great exit on this 180 degrees. Turn in, open up DRS and run down to the line, and it's a 1:15.1. I think we're probably going to get low, mid to low 1:14s, but a good early lap there from Katamise. Next across the line, it was Sidegate 1:15.7, currently provisional P2. If we've got anyone crossing the line, Jalaka, provisional P3 of 17.6. I'm sure he's got plenty more time to find from there. A bit of an oops there from Theo. Don't know what he's done. He's done something bad. Amadi 1:14.2. So there's an early marker of what we're going to be looking for. Darky coming provisional P2, only 3/10 behind as well. So really good early pace from the Ferrari. Terry's provisional P3 14.9, and a good banker lap for him as well. Next up is Benji, just jumps ahead. 14.7, and I think these times will drop as the quali session unfolds. There's Big Raki, P5s, and it's good to see him back with us in the league. He's been missing for a while, had a bit of a break from racing. He's back with us and part of the Kick Sauber team with Jalaka. Oxox P5 for now. With a 14.9, just behind Terry's, and had a fantastic return to the league last week, getting P2. Fine performance, and just missed out on the Driver of the Day vote, which was won by Terry's, who came P4. His teammate today, Caps Lock, will be starting at the rear of the grid as a Quali ban for impeding last week, so it's important, drivers, when you're on a hot lap, make sure you stay out of drivers' ways. As we've got Jax in the first of the Astons to set a time, and he's aiming for top 3 this week. Currently P8 with a 15.2. He'll have more time to find. Lennon's got himself a 22.3. Again, more time to find from him. Had a bit of an unfortunate incident last week where he's running quite high and ended up finishing near the rear end of the grid. So I think 1 or 2 drivers here just playing a bit of strategy and saving themselves some tyres. Good evening, Dark Yellow. Good evening, Lennon. Have you watching? I'll keep you updated on the scores. Arsenal are 1-0 already. And I think Atletico 1-0 as well against Madrid. So that's be an interesting watch. Marty, his first outing this season. Just managing P9 for now. 15.3. So not so bad. Yeah, it should be an easy win for Arsenal. We're already way ahead, and I thought they'd go a weaker team than they have done. They've still got some strong players in there. Declan Rice is in, Gabriel Raya. So, but there's a good opportunity for players to be rested. So we'll jump on with Theo. Who I think probably used an extra set of softs potentially than he wanted to. I don't know what he was saying oops for. I'm sure he'll let me know. Already the one to beat, and I think his closest competitor today would potentially be Theo, but I will be doing some other drivers a disservice as he's coming around the final corner. We'll have a bit of slipstream off a Red Bull and goes P2 with a 14.4, so a couple of tenths behind. Can easily be found. A great time, and Amadi not improving on his current time now, so he's probably made an error somewhere. I'll have a jump on with Katz. Good lad Katz is. Part of the Katz duo reunited. Had an unfortunate incident with Owen last week, who had a bit of a bitch fit and left us before even completing his first race. And we don't really want those sort of drivers in our league anyway. But Katz is back with us, of course. We'll see how he gets on. This track's quite tricky one. Tight twisting technical circuit, which is mainly 180 degrees corners, which we showed on the hot lap. Described as Monaco without the walls, with it being so tight, but it is so easy to hit the walls if you go off. They're not that far away. Some people describe it like a karting track as well, with especially that middle section with this sweeping left-right as Cat's provisional P11 for now. As we'll jump on Mr. Dan Morris in the Ferrari. He's set himself a good lap here. Unfortunately, he's having a bit of a confidence issue at the moment. Just needs to find his rhythm, and it'll come to him. He's got some really good pace. When I joined, he was absolutely bossing the league when I was racing too. Just needs to find it. And P8 was good first lap for him, just behind Ox. Jack has retired from the session, so he's calling it a day. And he's saved himself tyres for the race. I would have done at least another run, but he's calling it a day for now. So Keyser is just coming out on his out lap now, so again just minimising his runs. So jump on with Ox and then see how he's doing. He's just up on his time, just under a tenth, which would get him up to P6 above Terry's provisionally. Circuit used to be called a carousel circuit. As it's drivers just go round and round in circles. It's really, really hard to overtake. So in 2003, they extended the start-finish rate to allow for more overtakes. But it is, again, very tricky. And Ox loses traction on turn 13. I think he might have to call this lap. He does. That's very unfortunate. jump on with Mr. Raki, who's invalidated, so he's going to have to go back in again or do another lap. So I think what we will do is jump on with Keyser and see what he can show. He's got time to do 2 laps here. It is the 3rd shortest track on the calendar, so plenty of time to get in and out the pits. And the 2nd slowest circuit after Monaco. As the average speed 200 kilometers an hour. Really tricky sector 1. They basically do corners. The big braking zone into turn 1, where the slightly bumpy braking zone, which he's navigated well. Then downhill down to turn 2, where it's a tricky braking zone there. And going into sector 2 as we ride up to turn 4, you've got to find a rhythm here. Every corner you have to position yourself ready for the next one. And those sweeping corners of turns 8 to 11, as I mentioned earlier, you've got to build speed as you go. And one corner offline will compromise the rest of this section. It's nice and smooth here from Keyser, and then flat out coming out of turn 11. And then as we enter sector 3, the tyres will be heated up and we're scrambling for grip. And this track's known for quite a bit high temperatures and probably a bit of tyre wear as well. And as we come to turn 14, you want to set yourself up either for an overtake down to turn 1, or set yourself up for turn 1 to overtake down to turn 2. As he crosses the line, goes P11 for his first provisional lap. We've got Marty coming around for his second. He's just over 4 tenths up currently, which takes him onto the 114s. It does 14.992 P10, and it's so tight in that middle ground. How many drivers there in the 149? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers in the 149s. Crazy stuff. But you love to see it. As Katamese now goes up to P9. 14.986. Whoa. Tighter than an um's chuff. Actually, it's Theo who's setting his lap and stays P2, doesn't improve. Jack goes straight into the pit, so he's not going to improve his lap. As Amadi extends his time to 13.7. Crazy. Okay, it's that faster than I thought it would be, showing that pure pace. And we need some one of the other 2 drivers just to nail a lap. Mr. Sygate, his first outing for today. Currently down of the league for this season. Joining Amadi in the Red Bull team. And he's not improved on his lap time, so he might, if he's got time, jump straight in the pits and straight back out again. It might be Mr. Terry's. Keep an eye on Terry Reds then. Really nice lad. Shame he's a Liverpool fan. And just over half a tenth up. Which will keep him in his current position. Needs to find a little bit more time to get ahead of Lennon, who I did miss, and he's up to provisional P5, Lennon. Arsenal 1-all. Ooh, they're going to go out. Ooh. I'm joking. Comes around turn 11 to the end of sector 2, using as much track as possible. Now he's just over a tenth up, nearly a tenth and a half, which could get him up to potentially P4. Benji and Lennon both on the same time. This is how tight some of this battling's going to be, and Terry's could just eclipse them. Crosses the line, and he does, into the 14.6s. Great lap from him. Darky's gone straight into the pit, so not going to improve on his time. Let's keep on with Mr. Dan Morris. Off on his current time. As who just crossed the line? It was Katz, who's got himself up to P10. Into the 14.9 club. Terry's P4 for now. Mr. Saturday. He managed to get rid of that name last week, finishing P4. Can he do it again this week? That's Dan. Dan goes up to P4. Great lap from Dan. 14.6. Now, if he complains that he's not running well, he needs to re-look at this. Storming lap from him and jumps just behind his teammate. Big Raki comes round, and this will probably be his final flying lap. P6 for Big Raki. Oh, now these laps are falling. Can anyone get close to Amadi? I don't think so. But it's going to be a battle for this best of the rest. We've got, I think those cats coming round on his in lap. I think Benji Boy. No, it's not Benji Boy. What colour is that car? It's car. It's Lennon, and he's validated. Has he got enough fuel in his car to do another lap? You'd like to think he was quite hoping. He's down to P8 now. Let's keep an eye on. So Marty's called it a day. He's going to start his P12. Not a good start to the season for him, but we know that he can drive well on the day. Let's keep an eye on Cats and see if he can get any higher than P11 if he's doing another lap. Slightly down. Yeah, I'll be waiting for it. Ooh, I'll be like, ooh. Oh, I've lost my pen. I need my pen. I've lost it. I'll have to find it. Oh, and Cats managed to keep... Oh, it didn't keep out of the wall. But that's him now finishing highest P11. Who we got coming next? Let's have a quick flick through. No, Amadi is on another outlap. Can he eclipse his this time? Keys is coming out on an outlap. See what Mr. Lennon can do. He's down, so he's not going to improve unless he can. He's got 17 seconds to get over the line. He's going for another lap. Should be one of the last ones. Darky's not on a time, so he's going straight in, so he has messed up somewhere. There's a bit of slipstreaming from the Haas boys. Catamie struggling around turn 14. He's not going to improve on his time. And doesn't catch out of the wall either. That was unfortunate. So we've got 2 Master Martin boys. Theo 3/10 up. Don't think he's going to get close, but can he get into 113s? Oh, he does! He does! 13.659! And Amadi has to do another lap, which he's on. And pulled out the bag from the Aston Martin. His teammate's coming up next. Can Jax, P13 for Jax for now. Oh, storming. Ox, can he get up to where he was performing last week? And we'll start high as P9. Anyone jumped at Benji Boy P3? And Amadi's finished now. That's it. So we just got Lennon to watch. Keys up to P10. Great final lap from him. As he comes around the final corner, can he get higher than his P8? And he does. I wasn't sure where he was though. P6. And whoo, Theo comes in with a final fastest lap with a 13.659. Amadi joining him on the front row. Benji P3, great lap from him. And Darky P4 from the new boys. Dan Morris P5, he'll be absolutely chuffed with that. Lennon P6, Terry's P7, Raki 8. P9 for Ox and Keys are 10. Catamie's 11 and joined by his teammate P12. Marty 13, Jax 14, Sagate 15, Jalakov 16 and Catslock with brand new loads of fresh tyres starting from the rear. So of course it's a mandatory tyre race where there's going to be at least 2 pit stops where each driver has to use a set of softs, mediums and hards. I need to find my fucking pen. I can't find it. I'm going to have to get a new one. I'm going to have to rush and get a new one. And you don't really want to be pitting any more than you do. 21 seconds in the pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers perform during the race. Obviously, they've got to react to things like instance. There we go. I got a fresh pen. Shit quality from Keys, he says, but I think it was a decent time. It's a very close midfield, and even a 10th. As I think I need to invite Cygate. 1 second. 1 second, mate. There we go. Hopefully he can jump back in and get himself set up. If he's got time to sort his strategy out. It'll be a bit of a pain if he can't. It's a bloody game. So he will be led round on a formation lap. I'll send another one for you, Cygate. Oh, I'm confused. There we go. Yeah, Theo leads us round. I need to do my tyre check. I'll be all put out of shape. And it's a mixture of strategies here, where majority starting on the soft, so potentially expecting an early safety car. So the front three all deciding to go on the soft. We've got Dan, Terry's, Keezer. And this is a focus problem for me. I've got to keep up with this. But Cat, Jackson, Cat. Mediums are big, Rashi, Casamese. Cygate, if he's in. I'll be really gutted for him if he's not in. And Jalaka. And Hards. The Darky. Lennon. Marky. Oxox. That's everybody. So, as the drivers are forming on the grid, well, that was a bit of a mare for me, but they're just coming around the grid now. It's a 4.3 kilometre clockwise circuit, 14 corners, 8 to the right, 6 to the left, 2 DRS zones, obviously the 1 detection point. It's a 476 metre run down to the right line for Theo, and it's a tight turn 1, so hopefully we're God, that was a bit of a rush for me. Woo! I'm all sweating. As we're on 4, 5. It's lights out and away we go. And it looks like it's a good start for all the front boys. As Amity has actually jumped Theo. Good start off the line for him. Look at that camera pan. It's like we're professionals. As it's left plenty of space here. Very good start from all the drivers. I think Cygate's potentially probably calling it. I don't know if he's joined in or not. Capsock, a severe collision with Casamese. What's gone on there? Probably hit the basket under the VSC with Cygate's car hitting the wall. Come on, Cygate, just get in the pits, mate. Don't bring out a safety car. I think we're getting quite a few people colliding under the VSC here. What's going on? Cygate, if you got your car, matey, just retire in the pits. And it's disqualified him now. He apparently couldn't control it, so the game's glitched. I'm sorry, Cygate. I've no idea, matey. I know. That's a real shame. Real shame. But we've got some penalties that have played their part now. No real big movers and shakers. Big Racky's lost a few places. Katz has gone up 3. But I am really sorry, Sergey. I don't know what's happened there. I've got no control. But yeah, so he's still out. Let's hope no one gets on a D, taking this opportunity to pit like a few others. I've got some early ones to adjust to. So Amadi going on the medium. So interesting call. Terry's going on the mediums. This early carnage is just absolutely messing with me. We've got Catamies going on the hards. Probably some getting rid of their 10-second penalty as well, which is a good idea. Like Jax as well going on the hards. Capstock going in and getting on the mediums. So I think that was everybody. That is, and we're racing again, but really interesting call from them, which means Theo retains the lead of the race. Benji Boy P2 and Dan Morris P3. Lads on the soft tyres, so they'll be wanting to capitalise on those softs, and would have a decent gap from the cars behind, and we'll be hoping for a potential another safety car and capitalise. Theo takes the fastest lapman, showing his early pace. There's a gap as DRS will now be enabled, and this front 3 will have pulled away. We've got the next runners of Lennon, Darky and Ox all on those hards. Keys will want to try and capitalise on their reduction in the tyre compound. It's just out of that 1 second gap at the moment. Don't know what happened. I think Capstock is probably held up in the pits, had that penalty as well, so he'll be hoping for another safety car to pull them in play again. It's early days, and these two, majority of drivers, to be fair, they're all aware changes can happen as an overtake from Amadi. I think Jalak has probably gone off circuit. His car's just ghosting for now. I'm not aware that he hasn't mentioned that he is disconnected in the chat, so we'll just see how he gets on. Amadi out to P10. Sygate's now left. That's yeah, I'm sorry, Sygate. I'll have a catch up with you in the chat later. Stan has now been dropped by the front 2. Ox utilising the DRS and getting above Darky. Marty getting up to P8, overtaking Big Racky, and Amadi's got his foot down. He's 10 seconds behind the cars in front. Good use of the overtaking opportunity. Marty P8. And just needs to concentrate on his race for now. He'll have one eye in his mirrors. And Lennon's now just, as the hard run, his tyres have just warmed up. And have just caught up into that DRS. I think Dan's potentially used a lot of his ERS. You see his light flashing sometimes. But I don't know how long these tyres will last. These soft tyres. I think it was Lennon actually. He was asking about tyre temperatures because they're so high, which means that the tyre wear will be high too. So Lennon, as in the pits goes Keyser, deciding to get off those soft tyres. Is Lennon close enough to make the overtake? I don't think he is. As Keyser does go in. Just a switch of tyres onto the mediums. So making an early call, which suggests to me that the soft tyres are not very good at all. And will come out. Will he come out just behind this train? Doesn't want to get caught up. And we'll just come just ahead of Jalaka. And track limits there for Darky. Big Rack as well. And I think penalties will play their part in the finishing positions. Theo has broken DRS on Benji. Now Morris has still got a bit of a train behind him as Terry's overtakes Jalaka. I might just see if Jalaka needs an invite too, because the fact he's... I don't know if he needs it, but I'll send it anyway. With his car being ghosted. He's not in it. As Theo decides to go into the pits, will Benji? Benji's carried on. So Theo deciding to get off early days. Big Raki going in. Has he damaged his car? So Theo's going on to the hards. Very interesting call for him. Big Raki going in off the mediums now. Suggests to me he might have wing damage. And he does, you can see there his wing's getting changed. Unfortunately, that's probably why he goes onto the soft tyres. That's why he got the track limits. And will come out behind Castamise and ahead of his teammate. But it means he's only got one pit stop left to make. So Benji Boy leads the race. And his first leading laps of Lights Out League Racing. Arsenal 2-1. And then up to P2 now, up to P3, down P4. Has his teammate Darky for company. Will there be any team play here? Is Dan's tyre wearing off? I won't be surprised if we see him jump into the pits. Got a yellow flag, and it looks like it's a Haas. And we've lost Katz, and the safety car is out. And we've got some, this benefits the guys that have not pitted yet. Safety car is out, so Benji Boy is in. Lennon carries on, it's still early days for him. Darky carries on, I think, as well. So Benji goes on to the hard tyres. Who else? We've got Oxox going on to the mediums. Got Dan Morris going on to the hards. This benefits these guys. Armadi going on to the hards. That's Armadi. He's going to hope to try and go to the end on his hards. Jalaka pitting. Keys are going on to the hards. Where are you, my guy? So Keys has done all his pit stops as well. Terry's going in and making his pit stop. Getting onto the hards. So early use of mandatory stops here. Jalaka is here and he's gone to the hards. Caps lock on the hards too, so... Whew, early use. There's one or two that are still yet to pit. So everyone else has done their pit stops. Or a few have done their pit stops. There's his front three. Who Lennon will be leading us away. These are yet to do their pits. Interesting strategy calls from these guys. Theo's only just gone on to his. So up to P5 for him. And that mixes it up. I don't know what happened to Katz. We'll find out. Oh, it's a whelp. So I don't think it's gone out well for him. On lap 8 out of 35. Got a long way to go. And this whole grid is mixed up with everyone doing their pit stop. So in the second or third phase, however it may unfold, do not know how this will end. There's one or two drivers that have done their mandatory stops already. We've still got a couple that have still got to pit once. There's a couple that still have to pit twice. Tricky stuff. Tricky stuff. But it can be a fun track. Like I said, it's been with us since 1986. Seen as a karting track. Originally planned to be a street circuit actually in Budapest, in the centre, and bit of planning complication forced it to be a purpose-built track now. But a great one for fans if you attend, because you can see about 80% of the track if you sit in the right grandstand. What's that say? Lennon says it's for the tyre temp surface and carcasses are on, so it's realistic and difficult. Which again, I suppose it helps with having to pit a bit extra, but it means you have to strategize a little bit more and play around as the safety car is in this lap. Everyone is caught up, and like I said, Lennon will pull us away. And what I like to say, will he do? CSF's worst safety car ever. I think it's come at the wrong time for some, and it happens, unfortunately. I don't think anyone can beat my safety car restart in Singapore on Monday. I caught everybody off guard and went early. I think Lennon will go as late as possible. The run down till he can't overtake, of course, until the timeline's gone already. But Darky's stuck with him. And Marty, P3, his teammates just behind with Theo. Both side by side. Theo's on the inside of Benji, but stuck behind Marty, who's hampering his teammate. Theo on the outside of turn 2. And looks like Theo's had a little bit, he's just caught up in a bit of traffic there. He's inside a couple of cars, ghosting. Must be careful when the car reassigns that we're not going to be ending up. His car is back in play, thank goodness for that, as we went round blind turn 4. Oxox has managed to get himself up to P4 after that little melee. Potentially, it was a very tight corner. I think about 4 or 5 cars trying to navigate the same space. Benji probably down to P6, so currently you'd like to think Oxox is in a good position. He's still got to pit again as Marty gets the track limits, running in P3. The front 3 guys will be hoping for a potential safety car. Ooh, a little bit of carbon fibre flying off there. As Theo trying to maintain his speed, but the guys ahead are on a bit slower tyres. As Marty moves up to P2 on the inside. As Oxox makes a double overtake up to P2 with utilising his speed and fresher tyres. And Darky, unfortunately, has lost a couple of places after being overtaken. He's gone a little bit offline. He's now down to P5 as Theo gets up to P4 and has resettled after that previous lap. As Benji and Dan go side by side and they collide. And that's a lost wing for Dan. I think side by side through turn 4. And it's another safety car. And it's always bound to happen sometimes. Yeah, they can't overtake. And I think we're going to see 1 or 2 dive in the pits again. Both drivers, unfortunately, losing their wings. And it's always bound to happen. It's a really, it's a hard track to overtake anyway. And doing it on a blind turn 4. Oh, it's so tight. Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything other than a house. Dan running in a good position, a little bit aggrieved. I'm sure Benji's the same. Well, like I said, it's a very difficult place to overtake. So, as Lennon carries on going, I think he's still got to pit a couple of times. So Marty decided to jump in. Darky follows suit. So 1 or 2 jumping in again. Let's have a look at what tyres they're going to go on to here. So Marty going on to those mediums. And it throws up a few here. Darky going onto those mediums too. Dan only has to go pit once more as Jax goes onto those mediums. And that's Jax's all done. Big Racky going onto those hards. And that's his mandatory done. Ahmed D's gone onto some more mediums, so getting off those tyres. Dan Morris going onto the mediums. He has to pit anyway, so and that's all of his stops done. And Benji will be at the rear again, rear of the grid. I was hoping to go a little bit further. So Lennon's still the only one yet to pit, and I don't know if that was the right call for him. I would have pit and gone onto those mediums. He's still got 2 pit stops to make. Oxox running well now in P2. He still has to stop for softs. And Theo found himself back in P3, still yet to pit. Katami's up to P4, Keys are up to P5. And these guys, McLaren's both up to 6 and 7, and all, as because of the safety cars and strategies, they found themselves in some decent positions. Katami's has still got to pit for some softs. Giza is in fact actually pit, so he can go right to the end on those hards. McLaren boys both have done all their pits, so they can go to the end as well. Jalaka the same. No, he's got to go for softs. So Benji has hit the back of Dan Morris. Has he damaged his wing, or is he going to retire? Or no, I think he'll be serving his penalty if he doesn't retire. And he's going to be going on to some other tyres. He doesn't need any other tyres, but I probably think he'll go on to some hards and go to the end of the race. And he gets rid, and you can see, no, that's more mediums. Interesting. No, he's retired. Called it a day. Could have gone on some fresher tyres, but let's call it a day. Another safety car, hopefully that's the last one we're going to see now. Lennon will be leading us away again. We've got P2 who will be eyeing now a potential P1 podium. Has the company at the moment, and net P1 is Giza, who doesn't have to pit again. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep his pace up with the front runners remaining in the DRS. And bag himself that podium that he's been after. All drivers are caught up in the safety car. Potentially will be in this lap. Let's hope it's, like I said, it's the last one we see now. It's a damp squib while we're waiting for the drivers to go round, and Lennon having to set his tyre temperatures right. Have to wait for the safety car to go in. Ox will be racy behind him on fresher, better tyre compounds. And again, can't overtake until the timing line. As Lennon goes already. Ox has gone, but I think Theo's been slightly caught off guard. As goes a little bit wide, it's under threat from Katami's, who pulls out of his slipstream but jumps back in now. He is under threat from Giza. Katami's tries to defend the inside line and does defend well. Jalaka's dropped a couple of places. I don't think he's battling too much. Probably let his teammate past as well, as we've lost Big Raku's span on the exit of turn 2. He's still close to the drivers, so can keep going as Amadi gets past Jalaka. I think Dan will get past too. I think Jalaka's just not battling too hard and impede anyone's race. Darky, great move on Marty on the run up to turn 4. And bearing in mind his teammate had that incident in the previous lap before the safety car. Great overtake, you don't see many there. Brave move. But as you were still, no one's managed to make too many moves as Big Racky does get past his teammate. He's a couple of seconds behind the train in front, but I'm sure with them battling ahead he'll close that gap. It is his first race back, of course, so I think he's just getting to grips. As Darky gets past Terry's now, great overtake down onto turn 12. Terry's tries to look again on turn 13, catches Marty by surprise, who has to pull out of almost colliding into the back and losing his wing. And we'll put Terry's, I think, offline on the rundown. DRS is now enabled again when anyone look to make the move. Ox does on the inside of turn 1. Theo has a look as well. Lennon closes his door as much as possible, but Theo has better tyres and the DRS, and Lennon's down to P3. There's not much he can do there, but he knows that he just needs to stay with him, and he can reciprocate the move on the next lap. Katami's P4 and Keys is still P5. Katami's now the cork in the bottle. He's an absolute fridge, and I think the guys behind will try and overtake as quick as possible. Capstock 6. Darky looking racy. Currently in P7, and it is a big train. Terry's having a look. difficult place to make a move again. And we've lost. Is that an M plate? Whose car was that on? Was it on Dan's? I don't know whose it was. Was it? Oh, I can't see. Was it Jack's? It's right caught in the middle. Terry's having another look on the Mercedes. He's still got his car and he's pushing Marty around the corner. It's Marty that's lost an M plate, which I wouldn't be surprised. If we see him, and he does need to pit again, but it's for soft, so I think he might just take a bit of pain until he needs to pit again. As Theo now makes the move up to P1, and it's him and Ox fighting for this early podium as Keyser makes the move on Katamis. Goes a little deep, which opens the door for the cars behind. Just couldn't brake in time. You do have to brake late, but I think he broke a bit later than he wanted to. And he's got Caps Lock for company, and Katamis back ahead. It was a good move from Keyser. Just couldn't slow his car down in time as Caps Lock is taking a look. Armady past Jax around turn 3 and up to P10. Jax again knows his battles as Marty goes a little bit wide because of his, and Armady on the inside. They're side by side, can end in tears, but great racing by those pair. And Armady gets better traction on the exit and sets himself up for the next corner as Marty goes a little bit wide. They're still side by side. He's going to struggle to make the corner with his damaged wing. But very brave from both drivers through this middle section. But Marty is struggling. As you can see, as Jack's on the inside, turn 12, makes that move stick. And it's just unfortunate for Marty at the moment with that wing. He's battling hard, but he might have to pit. So I think, yeah, he's going to pit and potentially go onto those soft tyres now. And then he might have just hope for a safety car or something to come out and make that wing change. Should be good news for Jalaka. Pulls him back in play and has a battle. Armady making a move on Terry's. Gets that wing change. He's actually going on to some medium, so he's actually expecting another pit stop later. As Darky makes a move on Caps Lock. Oh, clashes with a bit. Managed to keep it going. Great drive from Caps Lock there. Whew, that could have ended badly. Doesn't have too much wing damage, so I think it's just a little bit of tap there from Darky. I think tried making an overtake or vice versa, and just a bit of a slight collision, but brilliant driving from Darky. Dan, who's running a P10 now, gets himself a track limit along with Terry's. Oh, Terry's. It's always your downfall sometimes as Big Racky clips a curb and almost loses his car. Again, good retention on the wheel and keeps the car running. We don't want another safety car, lads. We don't want another safety car. And Theo has pulled that 1 second gap ahead of Ox now. Ox still running P2 as Caps Lock goes in. Does he have damage? He doesn't need to necessarily pit again. But he might be moving on to some medium tyres. He knows that one or two others have to pit, so he's going on to some fresh hards. So maybe expecting another safety car. I don't know, but he didn't have any wing damage. Just getting himself out of that clear. Lennon, I suspect, needs to pit soon. He's still got to pit twice as Darky gets himself track limits. Running a bit of no man's land as Marty managed to get past Jalaka. Up to P13. And a bit of clean air will do him good as well. 4 seconds behind Caps Lock, who's just pit as well. Both will again. We'll hope for a safety car, I think, but we don't want one personally. As Jack's right on the gearbox of Amadi, looking to do an overtake as Big Racky does make an overtake on Dan. Down to turn 12. Brilliant overtake from the kick driver. Dan just finding his feet and is jumping into the pits again. Did he have wing damage there too? Did he lose an end plate? And potentially going to go on to hard to the end as well. As Keys has lost a couple of places because of the DRS. Oh, goes a little bit wide and almost collides with Amadi. And that's a lost wing. Katamis' span. Bit of a collision. I think he just lost his traction on the exit. And a little bit of a pinball for the Hash driver as Capslock gets past Dan. Dan is coming out on from fresh mediums. As Marty sets the fastest lap, missed the fastest lap. So he's making the move on, or goes a little bit wide. Side by side with Darky there at turn 4. It's a tricky place to overtake. And it's probably forced wide a little bit. It's all going on here. It's just so tight. There's no room for the slightest bit of error. You've got to be precise on your overtakes through corners. And you've got to trust your other fellow driver. Capslock now under 10 seconds on Casamese, who's lost a few places down to P10. Jax makes the move on Keezer on turn 12. Got himself up to P5. Keezer and Big Racky. Now these pair. As Keezer's actually lost, he's got some wing damage, so he's got to pit. And I think he'll probably go on to some mediums to the end. He's running so well. And does have that wing change and does go on to those mediums. Amadi now past Lennon up to P3. Lennon needs to pit. He's still yet to pit, and he still needs to pit twice. The longer he stays out, the longer he's going to hamper his race. Is Dan now ahead of Keezer? And I was going to say Keezer and Big Racky, previous track rivals, and you reunited again. It was some great watching when they were side by side together, but they always seem to find themselves, same with Terry's, always seem to find themselves together on track. So we're lap 19 out of 35, just coming to start. Lap 20, Theo currently P1, he's still got to pit for some mediums, so I still think that pit stops, the round of pit stops still need to happen. Oxox currently P2, who needs to pit for some softs as Marty gets track limits again. Amadi's done all his pit stops, but will need to go to the end on these medium tyres. I predict he'll probably need to pit again anyway. Lennon's got to pit twice. He is watching the stream, so I think he needs to listen. You need to pit, my friend. You need to pit, my friend. A couple of moves around, and Big Racky, he's retired. He's crashed into the wall coming out of turn 1. I don't know what happened there, but it's a safety car. And those that do need to pit, that's helped them. Oh, it's unfortunate for him. I don't know if he's collided with anyone. Capslock has stopped as well. What's happened with Capslock? Currently P9. I think it might be a yellow flag issue where he had to slow down. Oh, it's unfortunate, Big Racky. I don't know what happened there. We'll have a discussion with him in the chat. But it's another safety car. And I'm sure we're going to see some pit stops happen as Keezer goes in again. And it comes out back on the hard tyres by the looks of it. So what will Theo do? I assume he'll come and pit. He does. He will follow. He's followed by drivers behind him. He bunches everyone up again and plays with his Lennon's definitely got to come in. If he doesn't come in, he's getting an absolute bit. He's in. He's in. Thank fuck for that. And Theo goes on to the mediums, and that's his strategy done. I think he might have been held up. As Oxox goes on to medium tyres. He needs to go on softs. Oxox, you need to go on softs. What are you doing? Amadi comes back out on those hards. Lennon comes out on those mediums. Capslock has gone straight through up to P5 on some fresher mediums, so it's working out for him. His teammates gone out on the hards. Which he's done all his pit stops anyway. As Marty goes through some fresh mediums for Jax. Catamese coming out on softs. Should be maybe do 14 laps in there. It's going to be tight, but he's done all his pit stops. Caps is out. Oh, Oxox. I think is he potentially thinking people have to pit again. So scandalous. Oxox and Lennon still yet to pit for soft tyres. Lennon says it's a plan of genius. We shall see. We shall see. So Theo is now the one that's going to lead the launch of the safety car. And you'll have to see now that he's favourite. Oxox P2, I think he still has to do another pit stop for softs, which would mean that opens door for Amadi, who's pit probably more times in this race than he has done in the past previous two races. Lennon P4, stroke of genius, we'll see. Caps Lock coming in P5, and will we see another pit stop? Catanese going in and getting rid of those soft tyres then, unless he's got damage. He is getting potentially thinking those softs aren't going to go to the end. And well, yes, do just jump onto those mediums. Damage limitation for him. Just waiting for Keys to come round. Currently we've got Theo P1, Oxox P2, Amity P3, Lennon P4, Catslock 5, Marty P6. Doing well so far, and he did say watch his space, but he still needs to pit for softs as well. Unless I really missed it. Terry's running in P7. If only he didn't have all those bloody penalties. Jack's P8, he'll capitalise on the guy's penalties ahead if he can stay where he is. Dan Morris P9 and his teammate Darky P10. Ferrari drivers will be hoping to move a little bit higher. Jalaka running P11. He's running P12. It's Pitt again, and then Keys are just behind him. He'll be looking to work his way back up the order. And safety car would have thought would be in any time now. And it is on cue. And he'll slow the pack right down, let the safety car go in. And I'll say again, you can't overtake until the timing line. I honestly didn't think we'll probably see as many safety cars as we had, but like I said, it's such a difficult track to overtake, and drivers tend to try and force it a bit more than they normally would. And with it being such a tight track too, as mentioned, it's so difficult to find some space. As Theo's still working his way around. When's he going to go? Oxox is waiting with intent. Theo is now gone by the looks of it. He's got Oxox all over his gearbox. Has caught Amadi slightly off guard, which will open the door for Lennon, who has a look. And Oxox makes his move early days, which hampers Theo's exit, which will open the door for Amadi up to P2. And Theo's lost a couple of places. Great drive from Oxox, and Theo just got caught out of position. Oh, what was that going wide? Jack's gone wide and he's got himself a penalty. He might be, if he doesn't tally up track restrictions, then he might be sending that to the steward. Just make sure you send your race director, as Terry makes a great move up to P7. I think Jack's just gone a bit offline. Great move from Terry's. Catherine's made his way up to P10. As I think Darky side by side with the Mercedes driver. Oh, brave from those pair, going flat out round turn 11. Jax has retaken the position of Terry's, who's on the inside. Brakes late, side by side in the exit of 13. And Jax retakes the position and leading us out to the next lap. Great drive from those pair. And Keys and Darky as well. Darky goes wide on the exit of 14 and gets himself a track limits. Battling hard with Keys Geezer. DRS again is now activated. Oxox is still leading us round. And just keeping Amadi behind him. 11 laps to go. Theo still in P3, but knows he's got opportunities to retake the position. Lennon running P4. Caps Lock still 5. Marty running P6. Just slightly dropped. Caps Lock has very slightly dropped out of the DRS. But it's stuck with Lennon. We want to try and stay in this DRS as much as possible. As Theo's right on the gearbox of Amadi. We've got another yellow flag, and we've lost Darky. I don't think he was near anybody. I think he's lost it coming round the S-bends. I think he's just pushing hard, and it's a VSC. Will we see anyone capitalise on this safety car now? He's left the session. Will Lennon jump in? He doesn't. He's the other one that I think needs to pit. Katamise is going in again. Darky was one of the others. Oxock was one, so he's not pitting either. So VSC, anyone jumping is Katamise going onto some different tyres. And the VSC's ended with Katamise still in there. Just having a change of wing. RIP from Darky. It's a trick. I find it really tricky myself, this circuit, because these curbs can be absolutely manic. And if you take one at the wrong speed or the wrong angle, then you're off into Hungarian Narnia. Oxock still in the way. Theo keeping Amadi honest, pushing him all the way. Lennon's still within that DRS, but he's slightly dropped Caps Lock. Caps Lock needs a little while to get his hard tyre switch back on, but has dropped Marty, who's got a little bit of a train behind him. It's a train of penalty drivers. A little bit wide there from Jax, who lost a bit of rear end traction, pushing Marty round like he's shopping in Tesco, and sweeps onto the outside to make the overtake with DRS. Terry's will try to follow through as well with a late braking on the inside. Great overtake from both. I think Terry was just potentially looking for a double, but wasn't close enough to make that move. Can Dan make the move on Marty as well with his DRS? Has a look on the inside of turn 2. Great late lunge from Dan as well. Very fair. Goes a little bit wide out of turn 2, but should have that move made. And Marty's succumbed to the lack of DRS. And great move. Dan up to P8. Like you were for these front 3. Going strong. Lennon has now got Caps Lock in his pocket. I think the problem at the moment, Oxock and Lennon still need to pit. And I'll be surprised if another safety car comes out with 9 laps to go. Has their strategy slightly failed them? We shall see. As we're going down the start-finish straight now. As Theo now all over the back of Amadi. Oxox defends the inside of turn 1, and Amadi has to go on the outside. A little bit side by side where Theo, oh no, a little bit loss of traction from Amadi. It happens. And I think Oxox just a little bit of lock up and ended up banging wheels a bit with Amadi, and Theo's now up to P1 and makes the move going up to turn 4. And great move from Theo, and 3 wide going down to turn 1. Probably the widest part of the circuit. And Theo had to go really tight, and he's capitalised on that. Lennon up to P3 now, but has Caps Lock right on his gearbox. Amadi has he doesn't have wing damage by the looks of it, so he's managed to settle himself in P5, but has Terry's, Jax and Dan Morris for company. Marty unfortunately has had to pit now onto the soft tyres, and he had to do that anyway, but no time like the present then, so he now can go to the end of the race, and he will be racy. Can he capitalise on the drivers ahead battling? Caps Lock running down to up to P3 now, making a move on Lennon on turn 1. Should be an easy move for him. Anyone close enough to make the move? Not quite yet. Everyone's just dropped out of the DRS for now. Not quite close as the Giza closing the gap on this front lap now. Only 2.6 seconds. Amadi has joined the Catstock and Lennon battle, and will try to get himself back up to a podium position. He should be able to anyway, with Ox and Lennon both still in the pit. Ox has been taken from Theo. Is Ox going to pit now? Not quite yet. I hope he's realised he hasn't, unless I am really, really mistaken and I've missed it. One down Lennon. He's got Amadi still behind him, so great defence. Lennon's got the use of DRS to defend him from Amadi. And he's not quite close enough yet to make a move, as we've got a yellow flag. Who's gone off? It looks like it's Ox. And was that battling side by side with Theo? He's lost a couple of positions. Gets himself back on track. Doesn't look like he's got any damage. And is now down to P8. And potentially might be time for him to pit now, and if there was any issues, then I'm sure we'll see it in the stewards room. Again, it's a tight one, and these drivers are battling hard. The Theo now leads the way, promotes Caps Lock up to P2, and got himself P3 last week at Silverstone. Can he get himself another podium, starting from the back of the grid? And how this race has unfolded, it's unfolded lovely for him. Lennon has got Amadi all over him, so I think he's going to be under threat. Ooh, a little bit of whip there from Lennon. Marty getting himself the fastest lap, as Amadi does get himself up to P3. It's the fastest lap as Ox does now go into the pits, and he'll be getting himself on those soft tyres to run to the end of the race, potentially getting himself the fastest lap as well. He does have the pace to manage that. There we go. So Lennon's strategy, is this going to pay off for him? Marty goes through. Katami's coming round the final corner. Drifting round. Ox does come out ahead out in P10. And we'll look to do a five lap sprint until the end. He has his 3.6 seconds. Amadi closing in on Theo now. Still within, just outside that DRS. Lennon has got Terry's for company now. Terry's doing so well, showing some good early season form here. Knows that, well, I don't know if he knows if Lennon still needs to pit, but now within DRS and has that. Has managed to drop Jack Daniels, who's running in P6 for now. Dan Morris doing well in P7 too. He still has Giza potentially just falling out of that 3-second mark, which Giza needs to jump him on penalties. I don't know how many penalties Dan has got without looking. But we'll see. It's still early in the season, of course, and I know some drivers get disappointed by not finishing where they expected to. But there's 8 races to go of the season. Plenty of podiums, plenty of points on offer. And as I've said at the start, these sort of format races throw loads of surprises up, and it never really ends where you think it will. As Theo's coming round, finished lap 31, start lap 32. The question is, when's Lennon going to pit? Is he going to pit as late as possible and try and go for a fastest lap? He's still whipping it. Cool whip. Cool whip. And should be an easy enough overtake here now for Terry's. He's got better launch off turn 14 with DRS as well, and does make that move. An easy enough move for him, and should make that stick as a penalty there for Katamies. Oh, loses traction on the end. That's unfortunate for Lennon, who did not expect that at all. And has a look on the inside of turn 2, and there's nothing you can do about that. You don't expect the driver to lose traction, and he's just lost his end plate, which he'll need to pit anyway. I don't know if he'll switch his wing really to the end. We've got a yellow flag. Who's the yellow flag for? Was it for Jalaka? Or was it for Katamies? I'm not sure who that was for. It might have been Jalaka just getting out of the way. Capsock here closing in on Theo. So are the medium tyres just wearing a bit thin here? He's nibbling around that 2-second mark, but it just seems to be dropping slightly. So Capsock pushing hard. Can he get to a potential win of the race? Armadi will have something to say about this and will want to continue his win streak. He's pitted numerous times. Has managed to get DRS. Now 1.7 seconds for the McLaren driver. And Theo will be looking in his mirrors and be wondering, and then he's now in the pits. This is where his strategy is going to pay off. Aston Villa 2-0. No one would have thought Aston Villa would have got further than Man City and Liverpool. Interesting as he comes out on those softs. As Marty's coming round with Ox right on his gearbox. Lennon may come out just a bit ahead of the 2. It's going to be tight. As Ox makes the move, it's going to be tight. And it's going to be side by side with Marty. Is he going to make that stick ahead of Marty? He does. Right in the middle of that battle. And a great overtake from Ox utilising that DRS. Got himself up to P8. These three are going to be mega racy on these softs to the end. A yellow flag. It's a Haas of Hakatamis who's lost it on 14. He's on the path today and he's gone the wrong way round. He's going to get disqualified for going the wrong way. You can't do that, marmite. Hakatamis having a right mare. And he's going into the pits as he goes into some fresh softs. As Theo comes round to do the penultimate lap. Capsock is now 1.5 seconds. As Ox makes the move on Lennon, as Ox actually gone wide. I think he's pushing hard and through the S-bends. Tyres a little bit out of temperature and is down to P10. Lennon now up to P8. As Katamies coming out on those fresh softs. Can he set himself a potential fastest lap? Capsock has succumbed to Amadi's pace and now down to P3. Anyone close enough to make a final move? It's going to be between these front 3. As Marty is now in the pits. Is he looking to go on some fresh softs as well and trying to get himself another fastest lap? He does. Will he have time to do it? I think the board behind will tell us that. As Theo is, I think his tyres are slightly wearing. There's Amadi and Capsock right on his gearbox. And if one of these get a penalty, that will hamper their chances of a race win. You'd like to say that potentially all these 3 will finish on the podium without any errors, mistakes or incidents or penalties. But it's going to be tight, and you're going down now to the final rundown. Amadi pushing hard. You just saw his back end wiggle. Theo's going to be pushing his ERS and squirting as much as possible as he defends the outside. Amadi, the side by side. Gone a little bit wide and squeezed as much as possible by Theo. Capsock just staying out of that now for now as a switch back from Amadi. Great move from Amadi, but has he gone a little bit wide where Theo takes the lead of the race again? Amadi just caught in the slipstream and the dirty air and ended up going a little bit wide and had to succumb to this position. And he gets himself a penalty. And that's it from Amadi. That's his race win out the window. He might do better of just letting Capsock go through and see if he can battle for the race win then. Or try and do it on track as he ends up just colliding a little bit with Theo. As he's pushing hard. You see his back end going again. And he might want to finish on P1 on the track, but he's now under pressure from Capsock. As we run down to P12. I think there's no point in pushing now. I don't think he's going to get him to the line. And that was a great last lap and great push and great drive from both. Both pushing to the limits. And you can see what Amadou was going to do there. He just went slightly wide on turn 2 and then got drawn offline. So Theo takes the win of the race. Caps Lock gets promoted to P2 and Amadou P3. Pushed right to the end on numerous pit stops. Terry's coming home P4. Again, 2 P4s in a row. He'll be absolutely chuffed with that. I think that's Academy's again losing his position. Jack's coming home P5. I'll be happy with that one. Dan Morris coming P6. Giza coming behind, who jumps Dan Morris on penalty. So good finish there from Mr. Giza. Dan P7. Good finish for him too. Lennon P8. Ox will come home P9. We'll try and be pushing as much as possible for the fastest lap. Will he get that right to the line? We shall see. He's got Academy's there for company, which I don't know if he did. Marty's going to be pushing as well. Will come home and finish P10. I don't know who ended up with that. It does finish P10. And the driver of the year goes to Caps Lock. It, of course, is given by the drivers. Make sure everybody to do your if you want your penalty rescinded to go through your lap. So Theo takes the win of the race. Caps Lock going P2, Amadou P3, and there's your podium. Terry's P4 again, great drive from him, he'll be chuffed. Jack Daniels again P5, Giza P6. I think from where it was at the end of the safety car, he'll be happy with P6. Dan Morris P7 as well, he'll be happy with that. Lost a couple of places from the start of the race, but showed some really, really good pace. Lennon P8. Did your strategy pay off? We'll have a discussion about that. Ox P9 and Marcy P10. And the fastest lap of 15.9. Jalaka coming home P11. Katamy's having a really bad time at the last stint, P12. And then we lost Darky, Raki, Benji, Katz and Saye to DNF. Marty boy having a bit of a laugh there, knowing that his fastest lap came through again. So I'm sure there'll be I'm sure there'll be a few discussions in Discord, a few videos into the steward's room, but it's racing, of course, and we try and iron out any potential issues. That's number 1 of the season. Well done, Marty. Proud of you, mate. So next week we're at Spa for race 3, and it's our 100% race. So it sorts out the men from the boys and the boys from the crisp packets. And it'll be interesting to see who can last that out. My name's Alex. This is Lights Out League Racing. I'll see you next week. Peace out.